So we're now on and recording, and just to introduce once again on camera Kay Wilkinson. So my former colleague at Arts University Bournemouth. Kay has worked for a number of years guiding students, international and home students, but predominantly working now with the international cohort. I am right there, aren't I, Kay?
Yes, that's right. Yes, mainly international.
There hasn't been any change. And obviously we deal quite a bit with AUB because we've got an internal progression option through there as well too for our students completing level 3 courses. For levels 2 students and students still preparing or thinking about coming across to our level 3 courses, obviously have a word with your tutors and we can talk to you about the requirements that you might need for that. This talk obviously mainly aimed at our foundation diploma students. So we're going to be thinking about that today, and we're going to be thinking also about applying to UCAS, the sorts of things you might be thinking about when you're doing that. So when you're putting together an application, the sorts of things that you might mention, the sort of portfolio that you might choose to put forward to a university, how you might approach your tutors or your former tutors for gaining a reference, and the sorts of things that a university, which Kay is based within, are really going to be looking out for that mark you out as a little bit more different, a bit more independent, and with lots to bring to a university. Because I think often students forget, Kay, don't they, that some of the best universities particularly are very much looking, and I definitely count you guys amongst that, are looking for students that are thinking about coming across and bringing something to the course, not just there to take something, because I think it's that mix that makes the best degree years, isn't it?
It does, most definitely, yes. And well, I'll talk you through exactly what we offer at the university and the type of student who will really flourish in our environment. So without further ado, I'm just going to share my screen. I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully it's coming up. You can see it all. Yeah, so I'm going to, everybody can hear me and see the main screen. So I'll get going. Thank you very much, Matt. Yeah, we're all okay. Right. Thank you ever so much, everybody. So yes, my name's Kay Wilkinson. And just to say that I'll have my contact details at the end. You can contact me afterwards if you want to keep the conversation going. I'm always pleased to help anyone, whether you're from the just a UK student or an international student. It really doesn't matter to me. I'm here to help. So Arts University Bournemouth, just to say that we are very much a nurturing community, as well as a creative. We do totally understand that students will have come from different backgrounds. They will have perhaps been through high school. Some students are actually even home tutored. There's all sorts of backgrounds that students come from. And obviously talking to yourselves today, you're doing online tuition in the creative arts, and that's really fantastic. What I'm saying by a nurturing and creative community is that we are here to help with the transition. It is quite a big transition going from, say, a high school or a college or an online facility to actually coming to a university. And we have lots of support to help you through that transition. So telling you a little bit about the university, we've been around for a long time, over 140 years. But what we do, which is very specific to what you're doing right now, is we only offer courses in art, design, media and performance areas. So you can be assured that you'll be joining a totally immersive and creative community, which is very supportive for the areas that you are really enjoying and thriving in now. So we're just on one campus in Bournemouth, and we're very international. So we have students from about 75 countries worldwide. So lots of different backgrounds and ways of living and working, which makes it really exciting as a university to share all those experiences. So we have still about 80% of our students are from the UK and about 20% from overseas. So just to give you an idea, We're on the south coast in the UK, so it's an actually beautiful part to study. It's really important that obviously for the creative mindset is that we are in a beautiful area and with lots of great green space and beautiful places to visit to help inspire the creative mindset. So just some photos here. We're a holiday destination, so sort of 8 miles of award-winning sandy beaches. And for anybody that's listening internationally, we've got an international airport, Bournemouth International Airport close by. So lots of opportunities to explore beyond the UK to many sort of European countries from our local airport. So moving on, I'm going to show you a fabulous video which really showcases what it's like studying on campus. You see some of the studios and some of the work that's going on, and also some of these sort of outside areas and what students are up to. So without further ado, I'm going to play this video. Okay, so before we move on to the next slide and just to sort of go over what you've actually seen and what the main sort of features are here and the USPs, is just that when we go and start talking about the courses, is that no course stands still on its own at the university. Collaboration is at the heart of everything that we do. So whilst you've been going through some of your studies with OCAD, you may have been trying out various types of art and design. When you come to the university here, you will be looking at studying a specialist subject at degree level for 3 years. But within the actual teaching and learning process, we very much pride ourselves on working as we do and we see in industry, and industry doesn't do things on their own. You know, you have animators working with model makers, you have fashion designers working with marketing people, and I can give you so many examples. And this is why Arts University Bournemouth is such a great place to go, because we mimic what the creative industries are doing here on campus, because we have all the creatives that make up these wonderful sort of teams in the creative industry, and we actually incorporate that within the actual teaching program. So you can expect a high level of collaboration with the other courses. And what this does for you is it gives you very much a strong profile when you are going to approach future employers. You have many transferable skills, as well as the knowledge way beyond your specialist subject, because you have experienced it here on campus. Also to say as well is industry is exceptionally important to us here at AUB, and all of our tutors have either come from industry or continue to work in industry. So we have these valuable relationships working within our actual teaching team, which means that when we are doing specialist workshops or any live projects or anything, that actually we have all that network available to us, and that network look at us very favourably, and this is where our employability rate becomes of a great standard.
That's a lovely point, Kate. It's actually a really important one as well too for our students. You know, we're a team of tutors and leaders who are also engaged in practice across the board as well too. And you know, it's no surprise that actually I was a tutor for a number of years at AUB, and now I run quite a big studio business within the town here as well too in Bournemouth. Yeah. So it's you know, we all tend to dip in and out, and I think that's really important as a choice wherever you go on to progress. I think regardless, you know, it's one of the great things about AUB is it's got this very sharp sort of pointed focus, which is about industry and art, not just about going off and doing something wonderful and a bit cerebral and sort of lopping one's ear off in a cornfield, maybe like Van Gogh, but perhaps to try and think about, you know, how one might be able to forge a career in the future, how one might be able to turn those brilliant creative sensibilities into something tangible, which, you know, will sustain you for a number of years, and to go out and to be the sharpest and the best out there, because, you know, you've surrounded yourself a few years earlier than some students, you know, into that creative monotechnic that you have there at Arts University, which I think is great. I think one of the best things for me about this offer, and the offer of some of the other monotechnic colleges, which are, you know, around the UK, which just focus on art, design, media and performance now at AUB as well too, is new in the offer in the last 4 or 5 years, but fairly newish to me in my perception of the place. But it's brilliant because it was a missing link in some ways. But, you know, you've got other places like Falmouth and Farnham, UAL, Leeds and Ravensbourne. Also, you know, you've got that nice mixture, haven't you, of just being around other creative students, which I think it's a real big bonus, I think, for you guys, that you've got this option of immediately immersing yourself into sort of creative industries. Not that it's not great to go on and study geography or further maths or politics or anything, or medicine or anything else you might do, but you get that sort of early start to thinking about industry, that early start to thinking about being around other creative people. And I think a big part of being at university is that journey. It's not just the piece of paper you get at the end, which of course has a lot of value to it, but it's that's not the only part of a creative education. And I certainly think that's where I really benefited on my master's in London. It's absolutely brilliant. You know, I worked around so many other brilliant people who are doing exciting things, and I keep networking with those people to my bachelor's, which was in Bournemouth many years ago, where I still have colleagues I work with and people that I employ now as well from that as well too, in my studio business, and also through teaching as well. So like it's really interesting how far those early connections go, isn't it? And how much can come out of them.
Yeah. They are really important. And I think just to emphasize as well, obviously we've seen some work here and collaboration throughout the video, and you've seen some of the wonderful facilities that we do have. But really what's important is that what the actual lifestyle is as a student being here. What's a typical day? And there is a great sense of freedom here as well, and allowing you to push the boundaries with your artwork. And for that reason, you know, backed up with all of the specialist arts equipment, etc., and obviously having the specialist knowledge from those that have come from industry or work in industry. It's really a place to sort of grow your practice. And you know, it's very rare that anybody says no to anything here, but you will spend a lot of time. You know, we're called, if you have a look at our social media and you follow hashtag AUB Makers, you will find a lot of work either from our teaching staff or from the students that are here. And that's what you become as an AUB maker whilst you're here. You're spending a lot of time in the studios. You are experimenting different materials, different sort of backgrounds, aspects, and you know, bringing forth together many more sort of techniques and disciplines. And it can go way beyond what you're doing. There's evening courses here that students can also attend as well, to sort of sharpen their skills in a new area. And complement what they're doing, but really it has a real sense of freedom, and I hope that can come across. And when we look at the end of year shows, you know, there is very little comparison between each student. Everybody has gone off in very much the direction that they want to, and they're fully supported with that. And I think that is one of the great strengths here, that you're not coming on a course where it's specifically you are going to end up with the same result as the next person. And for that reason, it's a very exciting place to actually study. So moving on from that, I just want to tell you a bit more about sort of Bournemouth and the town, because obviously there are places all around the UK and beyond where you can study art and design. But I just wanted to give you an idea if you're not familiar with Bournemouth. So just some photos here again. Beautiful area, but we are a proper student town, so the whole infrastructure is there to support you. You know, we've got a transport bus link between halls of residence or private accommodation to the unis, and the buses are coming sort of every 10 minutes. And in terms of the actual population, we've got a high population of students. We've got 3 universities and numerous English language schools. So the whole town is set up to support students. And in terms of sort of employment, part-time jobs, we are a tourist destination. So there are lots of part-time seasonal jobs, etc. And I will talk more about our careers support centre, which is very much focused and there to help students. And you know, they're there to help you with getting part-time work as well. We know it's expensive to study as a student at university, and we know that there are many students want to actually work whilst they're studying as well. So it's really important for you to know that we help you with that. We help you with your CV, a job search, etc. But also just to say, outside of Bournemouth as well, certainly if you're an international student or a UK student from another area, you don't know what is around, but we're within easy reach of lots of the sort of popular landmarks around Oxford and Cambridge, Bath, Stonehenge, etc. and they're really you know, within a couple of hours distance to the university. So we are in a beautiful area in the UK. And also from the graduates from our university and also Bournemouth University, there's been a lot of sort of new businesses being born out of some of the graduates here. People have tended to sort of stay around this area. So there's a lot of creative agencies and other types of companies which have really been focusing on the graduates that we have been producing. So if students really love you know, having studied in Bournemouth, there are opportunities for you to actually stay in Bournemouth afterwards, with the number of companies that have grown in this area, have perhaps moved out of London. Obviously, it's actually cheaper to operate out of here. So just to bear that in mind, that, you know, there are local opportunities for you to work in. Facilities, just going to show you a few sort of photographs of the university facilities, and you know, it's typical of sort of wide open spaces for students to work at, whether you are cutting materials in fashion, costume, etc., or big drawing areas for sort of like architecture, graphic design, etc. Every single course has its own specialist designated area, and also complementary sort of computer suites. And there's also specialist centralized areas like sort of workshops areas. Innovation studios as well is becoming very popular with all the specialist types of equipment, be it laser cutting machines, 3D printers, etc. So there's always sort of areas where you can go and specialize, or within your own sort of areas of in your teaching specialist course areas. So just some more photos as well. We've got a beautiful print screening sort of print shop workspace. We've got specialist drawing studios. Drawing is so key to most of our courses here. Down on the bottom right hand side, we've got beautiful gallery space, which is all very exciting in sort of May and June time when it comes to students graduating, because this is where they curate their own space and they will put together their final major project to exhibit to those who are visiting, which includes obviously all our industry partners who are always very interested in seeing our graduates' student work. But also the gallery is a great area because we invite national and international artists to exhibit their work with us. And this is where students can learn from those accomplished artists. We often will have personal in-person sort of talks, either with the subject leader of that area, or actually with our Vice Chancellor. So an opportunity to sort of really sort of understand the other side and what established artists are doing, and see their work and talk to them directly. So that's a really inspiring part of what the university provides as well. We've also got our own theatre in the town centre in Bournemouth, which is utilised by many of our students, obviously our acting students, but also some of our costume students, makeup students, etc., so that all these students can collaborate together and actually produce on stage performances. So that's a great space, great area for our students to actually get that professional sort of experience. Going to talk a bit about our course offer now, so you understand what we offer here, and mainly focus on the 3-year undergraduate courses. We do offer foundation courses as well. So these courses are for students who perhaps are not necessarily at the point where they know exactly what they want to specialise in and actually want to go through a diagnostic process. So they would spend a year at AUB going through doing a little bit of some of the art and design, or focusing on the media side, and then deciding what they want to specialise in before they apply to a degree programme. And also we do obviously masters, which is way off as well, but just wanted you to understand that we offer all these levels of courses. But if we go through to have a look at our undergraduate courses that we have at AUB, quite a number here, and still growing. So all of our courses are 3 years in length, and typically from a 3-year perspective. In the first year, you're really sort of understanding this sort of the principles and the foundation of your specialist subject. So, you know, a great deal of lectures, specialist workshops, and theory as well, but obviously a lot of making as well. But it's really to get the nuts and bolts together of your specialist course. And then in the second year, you'll really be homing in on your specialist area within that course. So for example, say you were doing something like film. Well, film can be broken down into many specialisms. So you may be veering towards being a specialist in editing or sound, or you may veer towards being a film director. So when you have a look at the actual the course details online, some of these courses will break down and give you an understanding of whether you can then study more in a specialist area within that course, and also very much gives you an understanding of where that will take you career-wise. And then in the final year, you're really looking at creating your final major project, which is be the bulk of your degree in terms of your final sort of grading, etc. And also, I've mentioned collaboration, so you would most definitely, depending on which course you're actually considering applying to, but you would most certainly have at least a few areas of collaboration with other courses. Some courses right from the get-go are doing a lot of collaboration, especially if you are working in one of the courses that forms part of Bournemouth Film School. So that would be areas of like film, animation, costume, photography, acting, makeup, because all these courses will form together to actually create productions either for film, animation, or on set. So as you can imagine, if you're going to be an acting student, you could be really in demand. I think right now Bournemouth Film School is creating up to 70 productions per year. So if you're joining one of those courses, you can imagine the amount of credits you could be involved in and have on your CV if you're involved in lots of the films and productions. So a lot of different courses here. In terms of portfolio, which is something that you would be focusing on to prepare for this, most courses do require a portfolio. There's a few here where I've marked that don't require portfolio. Like acting, it's an audition, take to audition, and we have audition guidelines for that. creative direction, creative writing, design for costume and performance, events management. These are all requiring evidence and passion within your personal statement. So,
can I stop you there and we try and tease it out a little bit, Kay? Thank you so much for the most amazing talk so far. And I know you're nowhere near done yet, but I just thought I'd jump in because you're talking about two things which are really important to students. You know, the 29th of January deadline coming up for UCAS. Lots of students thinking about that at the moment. Lots of our students on our foundation course just entering onto the Unit 4 course, which I've launched this week. Unit 4 is our portfolio unit where students think about writing a personal statement for UCAS. Or an artist statement if they're not going on to university, of course, well, and also building a portfolio. Now, we've talked a lot about the types of portfolios, and I did a bit of sort of survey on this a number of years back and tried to work out which different universities use different formats and how you might be able to put something together. I mean, we're just recommending that our students have a good online presence and have something nice and clean with sort of, you know, 15 or 20 nice white, nicely laid out pages at the moment. Is there a particular format with AUB? Or is there something they should be preparing for? Or should they keep files in a certain way? Or is it just good to have your own online? Or is it every single course is different?
The first thing is we need, it doesn't matter where or how you put together the various pieces, because it could be a show reel, it could be a website, it could be a link. But what we want is when we ask to have the portfolios, we need just one link to access without any password or anything.
Perfect. Okay, that's well heard.
Yeah, so that's that. But I mean, we have specific portfolio guidelines for each of the courses, which are available on our website. And I think in general, if you put them all together, I think 10 to 15 pieces of work is valuable. I think when if you imagine a course leader's going to be looking through your portfolio and deciding whether you are good enough to join their course or not. When you open a portfolio, you really want to get the wow factor, don't you? You really want to have your best piece of work first, and you actually want to see process. You want to understand how a student's mindset, what their creative mindset is in terms of putting together work, and what the process is that they've gone through to establish that final piece of work. So contextualizing your work, making sure that if there's any references to particular artists or whatever, somebody who's influenced you, that you have those details there. Whoever's in front looking at your work, you need to understand exactly what it's all about. It's not, and also unfinished work is as important as finished work. In fact, it's actually preferable to actually see those stages, to go through and understand what the overall thinking is behind that work. And what else really? Obviously, I've said contextualize the work as well, and not put everything in. Put your best work in, and really read the guidelines and the course, what you're going to be applying for. Make sure it's relevant. Don't put in everything. And also, really, your personal statement should be a good reflection of your work as well. Personal statement, Arts University Bournemouth is the obvious. It's got to be personal, but you know what's drawn you to join our course. What has influenced you into this area? What do you want to achieve in the future? In a way, how that relates back to what you've decided to showcase in your portfolio. So the two should go together. If you read one separately to the other, you should be able, if you had 3 or 4 in front of you, you should be able to match them up.
That's a lovely idea,
yeah. You should. And so people make the mistake sometimes and they think, oh, that statement will do for that university, but really they should be personal and really give us an understanding and drive about why they want to study at AUB in that particular course. So yes,
that's really helpful. That's a great answer there, and I think you answered lots of things that have been on many students' minds. I think this idea about the portfolio also showing unfinished work, that's something many students are a bit nervous about sometimes. I think it's really lovely to show a bit of process. I mean, one of the great things all of you guys at OCAD have got is that you're very used to preparing work electronically. Traditional art university students definitely aren't, from my experience there. And you're used to recording and photographing things nicely. So, I think having a couple of good killer pages of sketchbook work in there can be really great in a portfolio. You've got a lovely page of visual thinking and idea development, whether that be a digital sketchbook or whether that be a traditional one that you photograph. I've got quite a few students using scanning software where they weekly scan and upload bits of their sketchbook, which is lovely. But trying to show some of that journey as well too. And one of the things I think as well that's really important is trying to show current work. A lot of students are dipping back a good few years, and although it might be really brilliant to show one absolutely exemplary piece of work from your past, I think I would say for the most universities are probably most interested in what you're doing right now. Where you actually are at, especially if you're a mature student, your work might go back many years. They would like to see probably what you're doing now rather than probably what you did 10 years ago, maybe, or so, or maybe even longer.
It does definitely need to be current work, most definitely. And if you're panicking and thinking you don't have enough, just remember that it's more about the quality than the quantity, and that it's got to be relevant to the subject. We do see portfolios come through and there isn't sometimes enough relevance for what they're actually applying for. So just read through the guidelines, which do come through from our admissions team. They're also available on the website. You can contact me if you can't find them. I'll have my details at the end. I can send you through the portfolio guidelines. If you want to talk to somebody, talk through and share some of your work, then that's possible as well. We do have an online portfolio day as well, which is on the 12th, I think, of December. Again, I can send that through to you, Matt, but that's a day. I think it's running from 10 till 1 o'clock. So right. And it's where anybody that put you in the chat up
there as well as an email, and I'm going to put AUB's general website in there as well, where you can find all this information.
Yeah, but you'll be able to talk to current students, also be able to see examples of portfolios, and just discuss and understand more about the actual process and what we're looking for. So it's a very valuable session to join. So I would definitely recommend signing up to that.
That sounds great. That does. I think this is really important with university sign-ups. A lot of students don't realise that you've really got to get in there and sign up. These places fill up really well. They're very, very popular and they fill up. So if you want to physically turn up and come somewhere, if that's an option that's available to you, do be mapping that out and thinking about that ahead of time. And it's a good option here. So get your name down if you're thinking about this as one of your choices. Make sure you get yourself booked on and get a place on there, and if you come away, of course, let people know as well too that you're maybe not going to be able to make that day, because that frees up a space for somebody else. It's a good human thing to do. Can I just ask one more thing, Kay, as well too, or maybe just to make it as a point and have it validated by you, that You know, I think it's really important with students applying to courses that they make sure that they've got the exact grading profile as well too, because it can be quite different even between courses in a single university, and certainly between universities across the country. You know, maybe some of the new universities compared to maybe sort of applying to Ruskin or Central St Martin's, you know, there would be a vast difference in the profile that might be requested. And I think it's, you know, it's really important to make that point that students, it is your responsibility to make sure that, you know, you make sure you absolutely fit that grading profile that's being required, because that might go right back to your GCSEs. In fact, it most definitely will, because reasonable grades are going to be wanted in English and maths proficiency to cope with the academic rigor of university. You know, I think it's just a useful point at this stage for students to really be thinking about that and be mindful of, you know, what's this course I'm applying to? What does it say on that specification? You know, what is it before I put it down on my UCAS? Does that look reasonable? And if not, perhaps I should be talking to the admissions a little bit and see if there's any flex, or, you know, what do you think with that, Kay?
Well, actually, you know, when we talk about your actual qualification, and you know, we said that they'd be definite, it meet our entry requirements when we're looking at students who pass with a distinction, would meet our entry requirements for our undergraduate courses. However, we are that university that would most definitely look at students who've not got distinction, just not who have passed your qualification, but have that artistic wow, you know, flair, have that wonderful portfolio, because obviously, you know, we are a highly creative and ambitious university that wants to get the best talent here, and we are not that university that is looking for A star. I mean, we want to have A star students, but also we do understand that some students who don't have those grades can be the best of students and the best future candidates for industry partners, because they have that enthusiasm and ability in the creative arts. So what I'm saying to you is that we can be flexible on our entry requirements, and you should definitely be encouraged to apply, especially if you have a great portfolio. We look at applicants holistically. Obviously, grades are grades and entry requirements are entry requirements, but I think we would look at creative students of a standing very favourably. Does that help?
That's great. It's really helpful. Yeah, you know, just really the students should be mindful of that, not just our grade, but all grades really that they have in the past, and that you know, they should really be looking very carefully at all universities and making sure that, you know, they've got things in place that are being asked of them. And thank you, Kay. I'll let you return to your talk. I'm sorry to have jumped on it. You were such an onerous point, which hit so many of my points that I wanted to try and discuss.
It's fine. And I was just, and I was just, which I've just sort of said already, obviously a pass with distinction is equivalent of what our tariff points are to meet our entry requirements for the BA, which is 112 UCAS points for any UK students that are here or listening. But we will consider other students with a pass, just because you know, we look at the whole application holistically. Most students will use UCAS to apply, have up to 5 choices. But if students are applying from international areas, then they can, those students can apply directly through our website if they're not using UCAS. And obviously, if you've got anybody listening from international side, we do have to have a certain level of English language. So just to say that currently with looking at IELTS, which is one of the most popular English language tests. We're looking at 6.0 overall and 5.5 in each band. But we do also offer pre-sessional English language courses, so students can join online earlier and increase their English language. So, you know, we're here to help. There are lots and lots of different international qualifications, and they're on our website. But I equally, if anybody's interested, I'd really like to talk to them, so they can contact me after this webinar, and I can go through what they're currently studying, what they've got in terms of their qualifications, and let them know if that meets our entry requirements as well.
That's great. So, there's likely going to be quite a few students watching this tonight who will be watching this abroad. Certainly in China, in Southeast Asia, you know, there'll be other students coming on and looking at this and thinking about UK applications. So
yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in terms of applying, obviously, once you've applied, I mean, it is important that you, for equal consideration, that you meet the UCAS deadline, which is the end of January.
29th this year.
Yeah. And anybody that doesn't meet that, it's not to say that we still accept applications after that. That's not a problem, and we do. We get students who are still applying much later. It's just that if our courses were to fill, then we wouldn't be able to give an offer to them before we've given the offer to everybody else who's made that deadline. But in terms of actually applying, because most of our courses require portfolio, just make sure that students that have applied to us that engage and respond to the emails that they'll receive from our admissions team. It will all be through a portal where you'll get a username and password to access, and all our communications will go through that portal. And one of the first things that admissions will do, which is important, is they'll check to see that you meet our entry requirements, because there's no point in going any further if you don't. But if that's all the tick box, then what they'll do next is they'll ask for your portfolio. And don't panic, because you'll have a month or a little bit more than that to put it together and then send it back to us. And then the portfolio will be examined by the course leader. And then if we're still waiting on your qualifications, if we accept your portfolio, then you will get a conditional offer. The conditional offer will be based on if you're a UK student meeting your entry examinations. If you are an international student, again, it will be the examinations, your high school or college, etc. But also you have to meet our English language qualifications, because we'll be sponsoring you for a visa. Okay, we've talked a bit about portfolios already, but just wanted to say that we do have them all submitted digitally. We don't accept anything through the post or such like. I've mentioned that we are looking at examples of your work to demonstrate the interests and skills, and it's finished and work in progress as well. And just also to infer that we are always happy to give advice on portfolios, but I will share with you afterwards the link to the portfolio advice day that's happening on the 12th of December. And there's a link here as well, which takes you through to our portfolio guidelines. Right, moving on. I just wanted to highlight, because we've talked a bit about the progressing to universities, the university life, and what studies mean here, and what a typical day is like. But what I wanted to say is, when you a student that comes to AUB, say yes to everything, because there's always so much going on and so much that you can sign up to. And I wanted to highlight the Careers and Employability Service, because they're right in there to help you right from the start. And just to say that there's a brilliant platform, digital careers platform, which is full of jobs, competitions. We're very hot on competitions at AUB, and it's the way in, whether you're entering an international competition or a UK competition, it highlights you as an artist, also the university as well. So there's gains all around. So there's always lots going on, be it sort of film and animation festivals or graphic design and illustration. There's competitions and the ways to elevate your profile as a student, and you should make sure that you enter and have that opportunity to say yes to everything that we push your way. Within the platform as well, there's lots of video content and articles to keep you abreast of, you know, your specialist sort of areas, job hunting websites and learning pathways. There's lots of tools and things to sort of make the most of what you're doing here. I mean, you'll soon become much more of a researcher when you're at university. We will give you obviously your learning and teaching timetables, etc. But there is so much more. We have a fantastic library with specialist librarians for each subject. And you know, we have so many areas that you can go to. We have the Innovation Studio where some of our industry partners are working. There's lots of guest lecturers. There's lots of events that you can go to there in the evenings and meet with industry. So you must say yes to all of these and sign up. It's the opportunity to build upon the central area of your teaching and learning with much more. I've put international students here, but its support is available for all students. I just had my own sort of hat on here, but just to say that the Futures, AUB Futures team, the careers team, they provide lots of sessions within the curriculum to help you build upon those essential employability skills, those transferable skills that make you a much stronger candidate when it comes to actually either pitching for that work if you're going to become a self-employed creative, or to actually interview for that job. And those particular sessions are offered all year round and are actually embedded within the actual course. They also tell you about the UK job market and ways of building your skills and experience before you enter into that part. So, you know, you've got 3 years here, so there's lots of sessions and particular events and things that can really help. And obviously, students who want to stay in the UK after studying with us, we'll tell you about the graduate route visa and how that works for you in plenty of time before you're at that point and applying to stay in the UK. The one thing that we are really, really good at, and I bang on about it all the time, is about industry and industry events. The team, the AUB Futures, run different events with our industry links, our practitioners, AUB alumni, to share experiences with our current students. So every term, they're bringing in different companies, different workshops, and it's a way for students to really network. Networking skills is so important in the creative industries. It's how things happen. So the quicker that students can get into that way of, you know, sort of getting over the shyness, joining these events and really understanding how to be a good networker is a fantastic skill to have. So we bring creative futures events to the university, and these are available for students on a termly basis. Just highlighting again, obviously with our links with industry and future sort of employers, our graduate employability rate sits at 93.5%, so which is a very strong rate. And continues, we're very proud of. So students who've graduated within 6 months, 93.5% are in either employment or they are doing further study, so perhaps onto masters. These are just a very small number of places, destinations where our students are working. You can see some media there. You can see some theatre, lots of different sort of companies and such like TV. Got some architecture businesses there, etc., design companies. So quite a broad spectrum, but not as much as obviously what our students and where they're working now. So have a look on the website underneath the individual courses, our degree courses, because there's a lot of more up-to-date information about where our graduates are working, where destination companies are. And this is an interesting slide, because this really gives a very broad aspect of the type of jobs that our students are working in, and they are very, very wide. You know, we have some students who are working in museums as curators. Obviously, we have students, acting students, working in the profession. But there's some very unusual sort of jobs here. Oh, we've got a circus performer. I remember that student graduating, and I know. But it's just have a look through this and really sort of understand that the creative industries is a lot wider than just when you look at the subject matter that you are studying. Very much a lot of transferable skills here. We've got a lighting technician here, cinematographer, PR, public relations. You know, on our fashion communications course, it's all about the sort of marketing, the PR, the blogging, etc. So, you know, dig deep into this and see that there's quite a wide range. Some people go into teaching. Got a poet there. You know, it's extensive. So it's amazing where some of our courses take our graduates to. And just finally, just the boring part, but very important for sort of like fees. For international students, the fee is £19,950 for each year of their degree. And for UK students, it's just recently increased. It's £9,535 per year. I've also got a link here to providing budget advice and guidance to students for university life. That's quite a good document to sort of go through to understand what it would cost to live in the UK, what your costs for like housing, etc. is. And for everything that you've got to think about is, you know, your food, your books, your travel. So again, you know, sometimes budgets are really tight, and perhaps what you have to then consider earning in part-time work as well. And just to say on here, for scholarships for international students only, there's no scholarships for home students who are paying the £9,000. But just to say, for international students, we're able to offer scholarships, and they range from sort of £2,000 to £5,000 in the first year to help. And Yeah, and we have progression bursaries for students who've come through a foundation or who have done an undergraduate who will then go on to do a master's course as well. And for international students, we hope to give most students an international scholarship. If they can pay their fees in full, there's an early fee waiver if they don't get a scholarship as well. And for international students every year, there's always other external scholarships available. So we look to put in that on our website as well. And just to say for accommodation, we have lovely accommodation here in on campus and also in the town centre. And all first year students, whether you're a UK student or an international student, will all have the opportunity to have a place in our halls of residence. And the fees are all fully inclusive. It includes all your bills, your Wi-Fi, etc. And rooms are sort of vary depending on whether you have your own room or whether you have your own studio and don't share kitchen. But they range from about £174 a week for a single room, and in studios about £186 upwards. Some of them are more expensive, up over £200. But again, all the information is on the website.
Yeah, I think it's really important to sort of, get that whole picture, isn't it? You're going on to university to try and think. And a lot of students will be thinking about, staying locally because of fees. Others, be quite encouraged because compared to maybe going to London, it's probably about half the price to being on the South Coast, isn't it?
Yeah, London's very expensive. You're talking about £300 a week and more for university accommodation. So we always say we're about 20% cheaper, rule of thumb. London is very, very expensive indeed. I said Bournemouth is a lovely, safe location. It's a beautiful area to study. Very conducive for the creative mindset. And who doesn't want to go to the beach after a hard day in the studio? And this is our social media links. So we're on all of the social media. I think it's great if you can follow us on Instagram or on Facebook. It varies throughout the world, which is the preferred sort of like platform. And we also have our prospectus, which is digital, and that is on Instagram as well. So do take a look through those and follow us. It's practically like mirror imaging the website. And for those that are really savvy on Instagram, it's probably quicker and easier to find everything than it is on our website. So please do have a look through there. And finally, this is my telephone number and my email. And I really, really encourage you to get in contact with me, whether a UK student or an international student. Then I'd be pleased to hear from you. I might push you on to somebody else if you're a UK student who'll be more focused on your qualifications and your journey. But I will certainly be really happy to help you. So that's about it from me.
I'm gonna just screenshot that bit and drop it in the chat as well there too, in case anyone was thinking, oh, I wish I'd got that, Just gonna drop that in as well too, so you've got that. That's really helpful, Kate, to offer that up as well too, because I think it is quite mysterious for some students at this age. Certainly for some of our younger students that watch this as well too, maybe with parents and things too, they'll be thinking about their journey in the future and what they would be thinking about doing in a couple more years. And that's great, because we want all students to sort of start thinking that there's some real people at the other end of that journey, and it's not just that sort of UCAS mill that they all seem to enter into. And just to realise that admissions are always open across universities to have a good conversation and try and make sure that the university is as interested in you being the right fit as you are in the other way around, because they want to make sure that you don't enter that university as a sort of revolving door, that you come and you're settled and you're happy and that you're pleased with your option that you've made there, and that everybody benefits from that relationship, that they benefit from a great student, and that you benefit from a great university, you know. So that's one of the reasons I brought someone in that I trust and know here from a good university, where I think, you know, it's a really good starting point for your research and thinking about this exciting next journey, you know. I think all of us that have studied at university, you know, would really agree that it's a fantastic journey. It's a really exciting time, but it's also like a bit of a sort of nervous time as well too. And there's an awful lot of talk at the moment about sort of creative industries, and you know, I came up with a figure of 9 million the other day, and 90 million, and now I'm seeing figures of up to about 120 million for the added GDP for the UK in any one year from the creative industries. And it was lovely seeing Kay's slide there with the amount of jobs that students go on to, because you know, I remember going into photography years ago, and it's funny I still do photography because that doesn't always happen. But I remember thinking, you know, when I went into photography many years ago, back in the 80s in Surrey, actually, originally, I first started making photography and having a little studio. And I was thinking, you know, if I did this as a degree, if I studied this further, would that really take me into those right places? And sometimes it does, and sometimes it doesn't. But that's one of the great things about having these universities. We can cross over between courses, because sometimes you find out that, you know, you come in as a photographer, but end up doing quite a lot of graphics, or you come in as a filmmaker, but then you maybe end up going into model making. And you know, is there still that option? You know, it's quite an easy option, isn't it? I think sometimes to transfer between courses as long as you get your credits in the first year. I might be overstepping a bit.
I have seen it a few times. It's not a thing that it happens that often, but we are that university that listens, so students that are maybe more suited and they can see through their work that they really should have been on, I don't know, I had a student a few years back who was on animation 2 years and ended up graduating in illustration. Quite similar.
Illustration and animation, film and photography, they're both very like that, aren't they? So sometimes the filmmakers will become more photographic, and they've covered essentially very similar units,
double awards.
Yeah, it's
they
unusual.
Don't get a double award.
No, absolutely not. But it's you know, it's very unusual to completely change course. But sometimes that subtle change, you know, the still to the moving image, or from the, you know, from the character animation to the illustration. You know, those things do make a lot of sense, and providing you're a good student and you're towing the line well, then quite often there can be that flexibility, can't there, at university, where they'll, you know, tutors will listen to you and say, well, actually, we do think we've got this student here, and I think actually it might be a bit more suited there. And actually, a great many students actually complete their degree and then found that they're moving in a slightly different direction towards the end. I think for many students, you maybe look at your parents' journeys through university and find that actually they're probably not doing the thing that their degree set on them anyway.
But my final message would be to try and be that student that says yes to everything, because even with the collaboration side, students all need students to actually help each other, and photography itself is something that many students help each other out with, and just to make sure that you take all the opportunities to engage with our industry guest speakers and the events, etc., that we do, because we're bringing them to campus and they're forming part of your course for a reason, because this is the people that you're going to be working with or learn more from to take your career forward in the future. So we're giving you all these opportunities to really help make your decisions and understand more about the employment market that you're going into, whether it's in the UK or internationally. You know, these opportunities are there for you to grow whilst you're studying with us.
That's great. Thank you ever so much, Kay. That's so helpful. It was a real mega talk as well too. So
well, thank you for your
information. I didn't really want to sort of overwhelm it, but there was so much good information there, which I was keen to get out of you, that was actually in the talk this time. So it's really brilliant. So thanks again. Thanks for being a great partner to us. Thank you for kindly offering to share. information. Has anyone got anything they want to put into the chat? Has anyone got a question for Kay, or anyone want to shout something out? Because, you know, there's an awful lot of things that I think between us we could probably answer if anyone's got a question. It's quite a good point now if anyone's got anything they want to come with.
You can email me
afterwards.
Yeah,
I can also, you know, you can either drop an email to myself, to Kay, or you can copy us both in. Be more than happy with that if you want to, or I can forward something on to Kay if you want to as well too. If you're listening to this recording, I've got a good feeling that this might be a bit of a clash for quite a few students. So I think there's going to be a lot of people listening on recording. So if you think, oh, I missed that in the live session, don't worry, you can drop Kay an email. Please copy me in as well too, and then I can track it a little bit for you. But we're more than happy to come back to you on any questions you've got. Or as you approach, you know, if you've got an application in with AUB, let's please make sure that, you know, we try and illuminate that a little bit to Kay. We don't have an internal UCAS system, so it's good if you just let me know that, you know, you're applying to AUB this year. That's great. I can put a little list of you forward to Kay, and she can just be aware of who you are and maybe give you a bit of extra support if required.
Yeah, okay. I would love to do that. Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time,
Bye,
Kay.
everybody.
And thank you all.
Bye.
Okay. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.